Good morning. Welcome back to the JagCorner. I'm Will Thorup. I think we might have one other person here right now, so good morning to you, or good afternoon wherever you are. Things are a little bit duct taped this morning, so I hope things work out. We're gonna just kind of pick up a little bit where we left off yesterday. I actually continued programming for a little bit longer on that controller stuff yesterday, so I'm going to show you where I got to on that. It's pretty much done. There's one other thing we're going to try to fix this morning. It's not really a fix. It's more of a house cleaning or usability polish. It is working right now, but we definitely need to put a little more work into it. Give me just one more second. Okay, I think we're good. Before we do that, though, and as people trickle in here, I wanted to go over just a couple things that I've talked about before, just some reminders on new games that are available or will be available soon. Let me jump over to the browser tab for that. So first of all, and this is probably the biggest of them, is Another World they're doing a third run of them, and it sounds like they may have them already made. And again, take this with a grain of salt, everything I'm about to say. But if you aren't on the waiting list with that, what I would suggest is sending them an email. And I should have pulled that up. You can probably do that. Oh, if this was translated, I could probably tell you. Oh, I know where I can get it. Give me just 1 second. Well, let's just find the Atari Age. Atari Age, Another World, third run. Right here, it's this thread. And you can find it pretty close to the top of the Atari Jaguar forums on Atari Age, so it shouldn't be too hard to find. But in this thread, towards the end, there should be an email address somewhere in here. Let's see if we can find it really quick. It's for RGC directly. I have an email in my email, but I want to make sure. Oh, here. To get Another World game, you must send us an email. It is the bottom of our page. Oh, so it's just at the bottom of the page here. So let's go take a look. Oh, yeah, right there. And all the pricing and everything's down there too. Because right now what's going on is Albert at Atari Age has offered to do a bulk order to the United States to help save on shipping for everybody who is interested. So if you're in the United States and you want to save a little bit on shipping, you can express your interest on the forum thread here, as well as sending an email to the RGC guys. So you need to send them an email, include your Atari Age handle, and I would suggest posting here as well and express to Albert that you want your order. And you probably want to do this after you've confirmed that you're going to get one from the RGC guys. That way there's no misunderstanding there. But once you confirm that, go on the Atari Age thread and post there. And you can see what other people are doing a few pages back on this. I'm number 472, Albert. I'd like to take part of the bulk order. So something as simple as that. Or you can send Albert a direct message too. Once you know you're going to be able to get a copy from RGC. Anyways, thought I would talk about that really quick, just in case anybody misses this or watches this video afterwards and is interested in Atari Jaguar homebrew. Okay. There are two other games. There's the Dr. Typo collection. If you're familiar with these Dr. Typo games, they've been around for almost a decade, but they've never been in a collection like this. First of all, and if you want a physical copy, right now you have to get them individually from random people that are making and selling them. I did a quick calculation. If you were to buy them all separately, it would be something around $150 to get the 5 games that are available in this collection. And so you're getting a really good deal by buying this collection. There's some really good games in here. My personal favorite is probably Fallen Angels, which is a Rescue on Fractalis clone. Obviously, it has better graphics. Let's see here. Well, there's one screen there. You do these planetary landings. You search for downed pilots. You land and you pick them up. And there's always a risk that there's an alien as opposed to a human being that you're supposed to rescue. So then there's like a mode. What do they call that on the Super Nintendo? Mode 7, mode 5, mode 7. I think it's mode 7. Racer called Gem Race. Another first-person shooter, similar, kind of like it's an on-track shooter, so it's not like Fallen Angels, but it's called Rings. It's pretty good. I enjoy it. And then there's Tube 2020, which is another on-track racer. It's kind of like Tube SE right here, except it's actual polygonal 3D. So there's some good games in here. They're fun. I really enjoyed Tube SE and Fallen Angels. Those are my go-tos. I am a little bit biased on this as well. I just want to point out that I produced the artwork for this game, and also the next one, Gravitic Minds, which is Reboot's next game. This is, if you're familiar with the Atari ST, there was a game on it called Oids, which was, I call it a gravity shooter. If you remember the old Lunar Lander game, arcade game, it's basically that, except you get to shoot things and blow them up. This is a really good game. There's a demo available right now. It looks like there's going to be a ton of content. There's tons of music on it. It has a jukebox in the game too. Anyways, it'll have a controller overlay. You can play with the Pro controller or the rotary controller. Obviously, there will be a poster if you get the Deluxe Package. So the Deluxe Package includes the poster, the CD, there's a patch and a keychain, some stickers, and even a cap. I think Albert is planning on a cap. So, and this awesome Reboot coin, and like with most Atari Age releases, you can get a gray shell or a clear shell copy of the game. The clear shell usually costs just a little bit more, if I remember. Yeah, so $5 USD more. Anyways, if there's anybody in the chat, shout out, because today may be a lot of dead ends. We'll see. We're going to work on this controller thing a little bit more. In fact, let me just demo that for you right now. I can't show you without really messing up my camera view. I have 2 team taps hooked up right now. I'm going to show you what's working really, really well, and then I'm going to show you what isn't working so well. So let me go over to Let's Play. So we have our test suite here, and yesterday, let me grab my controller. We were working on the controller test, and let's see here. Yesterday we were able to test out a few buttons, the D-pad and the red buttons, on just one controller. So now, and we were in the middle of laying things out. So now I have everything laid out for 8 controllers. So this supports up to 2 team taps with all controllers. I don't have all controllers plugged in right now. What I have set up, I have the 2 team taps and then 2 controllers on each team tap. So there's 4 players hooked up. So there's player 1, and then this would be player 4 over here. And it's labeled number 5, and there's a reason for that. It's a programming reason why it's labeled number 5, because according to the Jag, you have controller 1, 3, 4, and 5 connected on the first team tap, and then on the second team tap you have 2, 6, 7, and 8. It's just how things work out, and that may be important for what we're going to try to do today. So anyways, there's those sets of controllers. You can see me fiddling around with both of them at the same time. And then we have on the second team tap player 2 right there. and player 8. Okay, so now that I've showcased that, let me show you the little problem that we have. So bear with me. I have to unplug things and plug things in. By the way, you should never unplug and plug in controllers while the Jag is running. I've had, and this could just be because one of my Jags is failing, but I've had the Jaguar kill some of my controllers. It destroys, there's a logic gateway chip or something, I don't know exactly, on the controller that it fries. There is quite a bit of power going through those ports. It's I'm not sure exactly how much, but there's quite a bit, and it's enough to hurt the controllers. And so it's always good practice to turn off the console before you unplug or plug things in. Okay, let me rebuild this. Let me know if there's any issues with my microphone audio. I did not do a sound check this morning. Should all be working. Okay, so if we go to controller test now, and I am holding the first controller, just the first controller, you'll see that it's working just fine on controller 1, on pad 1, but that it's also registering on the other controllers that would be on TeamTap 1. This is, so I don't understand all the ins and outs with this, but it's strobing certain bits for those other controllers when the TeamTap isn't plugged in, and that doesn't matter because those other controllers aren't working, and it's assuming that whatever game you're playing, you've selected one player. And so even though it's strobing those other, or registering on those other controllers as if those controllers were plugged in some form or fashion, it won't affect the game. So because you only have player 1 selected. And so what I wanted to try to do today is see if we can write in some logic into our code that detects that player 1 isn't only registering on the first controller visually here, but it's also registering on the other controllers. And I think the way I'm going to do that, there is a proper way of doing this, but it's way over my head. I was in the actual Jaguar standard developer documents yesterday trying to figure out if there was a proper way to detect TeamTap and to detect when it's not there. And I couldn't figure it out. They have some pseudocode in there, and it's they have all these matrices tables, and it's way over my head. But what we can do here, what I'm thinking as a stopgap, as a minimum viable product, we're going to check. Yes, we're going to check controller 3, 4, and 5 for certain states. And if, oh, wait, will this work? Yes, because what we're going to do is, for example, if you push up, we're going to check, oh, is it on controller 3, 4, and 5 doing, and we just check for the states of 3, 4, and 5. And if it's doing that, we know that a TeamTap isn't plugged in. And what I'll do is I'll just have a flag that says, okay, when that happens, stop displaying the highlights for those controllers. And so they'll still be triggering, obviously, because that's what's happening at the hardware level, but visually it won't look like it's triggering anything. So let's give that a good old college try. Not in college on this stuff. Imagine if there was a college class for Atari Jaguar development. That'd be amazing. Be like a community college class or something. Okay. Let's go over to Kate. And it looks like I have Dolphin up. So let me... Oh, why isn't that going? Oh. Let me go out of studio mode. There we go. Okay. Oh, let's go down here. Our code for all this is right down here. And I should break this out into another function, but I'm not going to worry about it too much right now. What I want to do is down here in the control check function, I need to do a check. We need a flag, first of all. We need a global flag. So just up here at the top, I'm going to create a test controller state counter. We're going to do a team tap flag equals 0. So we're actually equals 1. We're going to assume that a team tap is connected to begin with, because our check is going to check if there isn't one, and then it will flip that flag if there isn't one. So let's see here. Let me jump back over to this scene and show you another little thing I got. So if you hit pause and option, and I should add this on the screen somewhere. I don't know if there's much room to do that anymore. Maybe I'll keep it as an Easter egg. So right now I have a this is just the integer in memory, the 32-bit integer, the 32-bit slot register in memory, and it shows you how that changes for each controller state. And so I don't know why what is that, controller 4, so the third one on the top, why it's cut off like that. There's some weird memory thing going on. Maybe it's overflowing a bit. I don't know. I haven't had a crash because of it yet. And this is going to be useful for us for checking, because we can check all the controller states this way, specific controller states. So for example, if they press up, and what I'm going to do is I'm probably just going to check the D-pad directions and A, B, and C, and maybe pause an option as well. Because most people, when they go into this, the first things that they're going to check are the D-pad and the other ones. We may check all the buttons, but that's going to be a lot of code. So to begin with, what we'll do to begin with is we'll just do up, since that's the very first bit that gets set. So you'll see that in player 1, you'll see it set to 1, and then on player 2, it's setting some other bits. And we'll pull up a calculator so we can check those out. Well, maybe not. Maybe we'll just skip that. I won't dive into that. We did a little bit of bit checking yesterday. I was trying to walk people through that, and I don't know if I was successful or not in explaining that. So we're just gonna skip that for now, because all we need is the hex value. That's why that's important, and we have our hex value. So what we can do is check the hex value for the second, third, and fourth ones at the top, and if they all meet a certain, if they are true, then we can set that flag and say, oh, there's only one controller plugged in. So in this function, and we're gonna have to bring in team tap flag, and we have to change that once it comes in. Check for team tap if, so let's get our, we cannot do it in here. Yeah, we can't do it in here. So what we're going to do, instead of right here, we're going to just create a new function that checks this. I should do that anyway, so we'll keep this function clean. So we're going to do a new function, and we're actually going to make it an integer. We're going to call it team tap check. Check for team tap. And what this is going to do is it's going to return a 0 or a 1. And I don't mind if it checks this all the time. It's not going to take up that much processing power to do this. So if we do need to pass in JState, and let's go check. Let me open up our header files. And go to joypad.h because I need to see what joypad. Oh, so we just need to bring in this function right here. Let's do that. Oh, joypad state. Oh, sorry, I need to jump over to code. There we go. So you guys can see that now. JState, and we're just going to call it J. What is it called up in code? We should look at what it is in code. It is JState, J_state. State, like that. We'll bring that in. And then we can check J_state J1, so controller 1, and if it's joypad up, so if we're going up, so we're checking that first of all, and this is where the code's going to get a little verbose, because if we look at, let me jump back over to Let's Play, if we look at controller 1 right there, you'll see that up and 0 are both triggered on number 2. Give me just a second, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. So yeah, we need to check if controller, and forgive me, it isn't controller 2, it's controller 3, because you remember that team tap 1, 3, 4, and 5 are on team tap 1, and so we actually need to check J3 in our JState. So let's do that. And I'm going to encapsulate all those inside their own set of parentheses. And we're going to check for up. So I'm just going to copy you and then change it so we're checking controller 3. And I'm going to copy this, make this as quick as possible. And zero. Like that. And we can actually, this should be enough right now to trigger something. And so what we're going to do just to begin with is we're just going to have it change Tom regs. We're going to change the background color. 0x. Let's see here. Let's just make it red. Like that. Else, let's see here. We just want to set it back to that gray background color, which is up here somewhere. Right there. Yeah, that's what we want. Okay. I'm just going to swap this out like that. And then we need to create a declaration of this function in our header file. Just by copying this part. Oh, we need to return. Return. So if that does trigger, we need to return a 0 to the TeamTap global variable that we made. Otherwise, we return a 1 because it is plugged in. Let's do this. Let's move this out. Let's forget setting the color back. I'm just going to test this out as it is right now. Oh, something I forgot to mention. This little, I guess you can call it a bug. It's not really a bug. This behavior only appears on actual hardware. It does not appear in virtual Jaguar because virtual Jaguar only supports 2 controllers, and the way it's set up, you'd think that it would if it was working exactly like the Jag, that it would be triggering the other controllers if you only had the 1 controller plugged in like we have right now. But it doesn't do that for some reason. So the way controllers are handled in virtual Jaguar is not the same as with actual hardware, which is important to know. At least down at the bit level, it's not the same. Okay. We are doing a declaration like that, and then we need to add it in code as well. And we're going to do that down here in our while loop. And I'm going to do it below any of our other controller check. Oh yeah, right here. We're going to just do it right here. TeamTap check. And we need it to set, because we're returning an integer, the TeamTap flag, like that. And we are just passing JState. We have a variable JState here inside our main loop, and so we can just pass that through. Let's make sure that builds. Looks like it's building just fine. Let's send it over to the skunk, our skunk board. Okay, that was, seems like the Jag is working a little bit faster this morning for some reason. Okay, so this should go red when I press up. Yep, there we go. So it is working. That's good. Let's go to... So now that we can set that flag, what we can do is in this function, when it's passing... No, we have to do it in our main loop. So right here, we can tell it that we're only checking so we're doing a control check on everything, and so we just want to use this flag to say, oh, we don't need to check 3, 4, and 5. Oh, we need 2 variables. Let's see here. Let's think through this. Let's create 3 state, or no, we need 4. Okay, so we have 2 ports. State 0 is no team taps. State 1 is team tap in port or socket That's what they use in the Jaguar SDK. Socket 1. 2 is team tap in socket 2, and then 3 is team tap in sockets 1 and 2. Okay. Yeah, that's what we want. So zeros, there are no team taps installed or plugged in. 1 is team tap is in socket 1, 2 is in team tap is in socket 2, and then 3 is 1 plus 2. That's one way you can think about it. That should work. Okay. So if team tap flag is equal to if it's equal to 1 or 3. So those are the two states that socket 1 has a team tap plugged in. Then we can check these controllers. Otherwise, we won't check them, and so they just won't function. And same thing or similar for 6, 7, and 8. Tab those over and add our curly braces, but it's when it's in state 2 when it has the team tap plugged only into socket 2, or state 3 where it's sockets 1 and 2 that are plugged in with a team tap. Okay, so now we need to add the logic for that. Okay, this is going to be a little bit tricky. Check for team tap in socket 1. So we can do that right now with this. Else return 1. Yeah, this is going to take me a bit to figure out. I think I just need to write some code and I'll figure it out as I go. Yeah. And you know we can set this just to 0 by default. So if socket 1 triggers this way, we know for sure there's a team tap in there. And so we can return a 0. Let's do this. Int socket state equals 0, and we'll be return socket state. And then we'll need to do checks on check for team tap on socket 2. And socket 1 equals 0. Int socket 2 equals 0. So now this will set socket 1 equals 1, else, oh no, socket 1 equals 0, else socket 1 equals 1. Okay, so what I've done is we're doing a few different flags in here. So socket state will send the actual state back out of the function and set our flag accordingly. But inside the function, we need to check socket 1 and 2 independently, and then according to their states, set socket state to what we need it to be. And so right now we have a case for socket 1, and I'm just going to copy this for now. This is all going to change here soon. For socket 2, let's see here, but we're going to do a similar thing, assuming, let's make sure, up. Which controller do I plug in? There it is. It's the same, and it looks like it's the same there. And it's the same there as well. So it looks like, at least for up, they're working the same. And so we can leave this logic the same, but swap out which controllers we're checking. But in this case, we need to change socket 2, and this needs to be, yes, that's fine. Because it will recognize that as a team tab set to that. And then we need a little bit of logic before we go out. So set socket state according to socket 1 and socket 2 state. So we just need to check which one how each one of those are set, and then set our socket state accordingly. So if socket 1 is equal to 0, meaning there's only one controller set in or plugged in, and socket 2, and we just have to do for each case essentially here, is 0 as well, then socket state equals 0. So there's no team taps plugged in if both of these return 0, which makes sense. And then else if socket 1 has a team tap but socket 2 is 0, then the state is 1. If socket 1 doesn't have a team tap but socket 2 does, then our state is 2. And then our last one, if they both have team taps plugged in, then our state is 3. That should be all we need, and I think we have enough to test this all out right now. What I want to do is have it, let's see here, can we, yeah, I just want to send colors for now, because we're going to test all 4 of these states. So I'm actually going to pull the colors from here, and I'm going to have it VSync so we can at least see it flash on screen. VSync, there we go. And I'm going to have it flash red for no team taps. I'm going to have it flash a green color. I'm not sure exactly what green it's going to be. For if it has a team tap only in socket 1, and then if it's only in socket 2, I'm going to have it do a blue. This is a little bit trickier. Here, we're going to do our little trick. We're going to do 0 bit shift 11, or we're going to do a full blue bit shift 6 bits, and then or 0, because we're not doing any green. In fact, I'm going to do this to all of them because I really like that I was able to figure this out. There's no tutorials online for specific stuff like this, and it's simple. It really is simple. It's one of those things. It's like, I should have figured this out a long time ago, but I'm proud that I was able to do it all on my own. Okay, that's blue. We want to do a green on this one, like that. And then on, if both of them are plugged in, we're going to have it flash white. Like that. Okay. So our current state is nothing has. We don't have any team taps plugged in. So let's go over to our Let's Play while it resets all that jazz. Controller test. Look at that. We are flashing. Okay, so blue is, let's see here. Blue is, oh no, that's not right. It should be flashing green, not blue. Because, oh no. It's assuming, oh, you know, this is right, because it's assuming that Team Tap 2 is plugged in until we push something on the second controller. And now it's red. Yeah, that's right. So let's see if I can figure this out. If I push 2, it's going to assume that there's a Team Tap plugged into 1, which is what I'm thinking will work here. We may change this logic in the future, but I'm just trying to predict. So it should be green when I press up on controller 2. Yeah, there we go. Okay. That is working as expected. Cool. Back over to code. So now that we have that figured out, we can actually tell it, oh, wait a second. We already had the logic set up, so it shouldn't be triggering these. Let's see here. Yeah, so if I press up, it should be setting the flag. Oh, yeah, so this isn't going to work because it thinks it's in state. Oh, no. Let's see here. So if I'm pressing up, it thinks it's in state, state 2. So yeah, this isn't going to work. This logic will not work. I think what we have to do is figure out, we have to assume because it won't know unless there is a second controller plugged in. See, like that shouldn't be showing any highlights at all. That's weird. Return socket state. Let me make sure there aren't any bugs. I don't think there are any bugs. Yeah, just some unused variables, so we're fine there. No, this is a logic problem. I need to reverse this somehow because right now the only way it can set the right state so it isn't highlighting the controllers we don't want it highlighting is if it can check a second controller, and that doesn't work because you may only be testing one controller. So we can't rely on the second controller. It's that simple. I'm wondering if we need 2 variables outside global variables for each socket. I was hoping to do it with just one variable, but I don't think we can. Else, so right now we're assuming that a team tap is plugged in. If we reverse that, so we assume that there isn't a team tap. Socket 1. Let me just make sure everything else is set up correctly. Yeah, I think it is. Pretty sure it is. So it's setting this to 1 by default. Yeah, so when you're not pressing up, it just assumes that there's nothing but team taps. And if we press up on that, it assumes the state that socket 2 is still set. Oh, I know there's a way to do this. It's right there on the edge of my brain. Socket 2. I think we have to assume that there are no team taps plugged in. We have to start from that state. Set to 1. I just don't know. Oh, we could just reverse the logic here. So I think I can just put a not outside of this set here. So if those aren't being triggered on controller 3 or J3, then that means that a team tap is plugged in, otherwise default to no team tap. Yeah. Let's see if this works. I don't know if I can just do a not. I'm pretty sure I can do a not just outside of a set of parentheses like that. It seems like I've done it before. And we just swap the logic on those. Let's see what that looks like. So it should just be flashing red. I believe that's the state we should be in. Yeah. And look at that, it's working there. It's working on controller 2 as well. So now what we need to do is plug in the team taps. Yeah, it should go red if both of them are unplugged. Because what it's doing is those other controllers are firing off. But now, because we're checking that only if they don't do we mark that there is a team tap plugged in. So let's go ahead and test this out. So what I'm going to do is plug in team tap 1 with 2 controllers into team tap into socket 1. So socket 1 is plugged in, so we should expect when we move something on This isn't going to work 100%, but I've already found a hole in this logic. It's rare that it will happen, but it can still happen. So what we're going to do, we're going to expect green as our background, because we'll have a team tap plugged into socket 1. Here, we're going to have a team tap plugged into socket 1, but not socket 2. So we should be expecting green. Yes. Yes, this should work. So let me go ahead and build this again. Green. What happens if we do, and controller 2 is working as expected, and if I do that controller on team tap 1, here, let me try to do 3 controllers at once. This can be difficult. Yeah, it looks like everything's working as expected. Okay. Now let's try for team tap in socket 2 and just a controller plugged into socket 1. Okay, I'm going to build this again. We are expecting blue on the screen this time when we press up on a controller from socket 2, so from the team tap. There it is. Let me try to do 2 controllers at once, so we know for sure I'm using the team tap, and then just the 1 controller. We may have hit our rare case. Actually, no, that shouldn't have set. I'm not sure what's going on there. Look at that. For some reason, they're firing off, but they're not actually being set in memory. Huh. You can push down on all those at once. Oh, look at that, and that stopped working. It's still setting off though. For some reason it isn't highlighting. Here, let's try backing out and going back in. Huh. It might be a problem with the team tap. Not entirely sure. Here, let's test out the other team tap. There was some sort of bug going on there. I'm not sure exactly what it was. Okay, let's see here. Those are our 2 controllers there, and we still have this 1 control in port 1. Okay, so port 1's working as expected. And then, let's see here. Yep. There's that. Make sure I have the right controllers plugged in. What is this? It's one of my rotary controllers. Let's see if it's actually triggering. It is triggering. For some reason it doesn't want to show up. Let's see here, that's controller. Make sure my logic is correct. It's number 8. So if we go over to here, we can check right here. So 2 or 3. So yeah, it should be setting off. But for some reason we're only seeing so it seems like there is a problem with my code. 1 is working as expected. That's fine. Hmm. 6, 7, and 8. 2 or 3. What's weird is it setting, oh, it is setting blue. Oh, it's because we're not checking for that third controller, or for, yeah, we don't, our logic isn't finished. That's why. Okay, we just got to finish this right here. So what we need to do is, and we're making a lot of assumptions here. Oh man, that's a lot of code to write. We can write it. I mean, it'll work. We won't be covering every possible button scenario. It'll be too much. But we can cover common ones. And this is why I should probably figure out how to actually detect a team tap eventually and get this in code. But we're going to get something working here first. I'm going to exit. No, I'm going to turn it off. We're going to plug in just 2 controllers again, so we can set up the rest of this logic. Gotta figure out what I had plugged in where. So many cables. There we go. There we go. Make sure that turns back on. Okay, yeah, we're good. Okay, let me get that built and sent over again so we can see how this reacts. And what I'm going to do to make this a little more readable, so I'm going to drop this down to a new line and drop this down to a new line like that. Oh, man. Yeah, this is going to be a mess. This is definitely not the best way to do this. Okay, so we need to bring back our, so we can see what states. Let's see here, is there a quicker way to do this? Oh yeah, I think there is actually. So I have the hexadecimal up above, so we can use those instead of this, and this will actually shorten our code considerably too, because we just need to do one of these. So for example, for J3, when up is being pressed on J1, is FF30110 is FF123 110, like that, and that should have the same effect. Let's see here. Need another set of parentheses. Actually, we can get rid of that because we're not doing 2. There we go. Like that. And we can test for that if it reacts the same. That's how we know. it reacts the same. So let's reset this. Oh. Expected token 1258. 1258. I am missing. Oh, I think I just have an extra parentheses going on. There we go. Make. There we go. Let's give it another try. So if we press up, yep, that's right. Cool. So we can do it for up. Huh, yeah, this is kind of a messy way of doing this. What we need to do, so I'm going to actually drop this down as well. We do need an extra set of parentheses because we're going to do a bunch of checks all in the same if statement. Like that. Just going to try to make this as readable as possible. You know, actually, we may just have to do this. Yeah, this should work fine. And then we can do an OR and then do another set. So we just copy this like that. And now we can do write, which is, and see, all I'm doing is checking J3, and I think that's going to be enough. You know, if we really wanted to be, maybe we check J5 instead of 3, because that's going to be less likely to have somebody actually input those same values at the same time. Honestly, we should probably do 2 for each of these. So if we do maybe J3 and J5, that like this, J3 and J5 is 808. Right? Oh, I mean, oh yeah, that's right. That's J5 down there. Is 1101. 1 like that. Let's see here, and then that's just, it's right, it's 88. Okay, and this is for right. Try it one more time. And I know you didn't see the code on that, and that's fine because it's going to get a little dull right now. Okay, that's working. Oh, wait a second. Shouldn't we be seeing on down, because we haven't added the logic for down? We should be seeing something. Oh, no. It's because we're assuming that no T-tap is plugged in. Oh, and there are no T-taps plugged in right now. So yeah, so I'm assuming a lot right now. So hopefully this will work. We'll test it out here in a second. I'm actually going to drop that down. Or this will be down like that. Gosh, I'm starting to think this may not work. What I need is like 8 extra pairs of hands to test all this. That's okay. We'll work with what we have. 2, 2, 2. This is probably just going to be 2. Yep. And then we do another set for left. Left, and that is 4s across the board. 4, 4, 4, 4, like that. That should do the trick, and let's do A, B, and C. So that one's going to be a little bit different. So we'll do A first. A is 2, 8. So 0, 0, 2, 8. A. And that is A2. A2. And then B. B. A8. B is 2, 2, and A8. It's 2, 2, and A8. And C is 0A and 8. 0A and 8. There we go. Okay, that should be the logic for controller 1, and controller 2 should be the same. So if we do up, that's correct, I believe. And then right is 8, down, left. And then A, 2, 8. I have a Pro controller here too, just to check everything. A is 2. Oh. Is that different? 2, 8, 2, 2. And 2, 8 on that one. Interesting. That's different. 0A, 2, 2. So there are some differences. And you have to go check those. That's okay. Should, again, minimum viable product. Yeah. Let's see here. I am doing that, and then we're doing that. Yes. Yep, that's correct. Okay, so let's check on controller 2. Up. 1, 1, 1. That's fine. Right is different. We have 8, 0, 8. So yeah, there are some differences here, assuming this is printing out. Well, first of all, we need to change. This is J2 on all these. Go through, change those like that. Those are all J2, and then we're checking J6 and 8. So this is 6 and 8. Let's see here. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Get those swapped. like that. Okay. Okay, so let's double check up because I'm wondering if those are different. So up and 101. Yep, they are different. 1 and 110. 110, like that. And then right is 808 and 880. It looks like they're swapping. 808 and 880. Then down is 202 and 22. Well, they're not quite swapping, it looks like. 220 and 202. Gotta make sure I don't have an extra 0 there. And then left is 404 and 440. So we can do that. And then 0, 4. Now, I'm a little curious. 440. Yeah. They work a little bit different. And again, this comes back to that matricy that's in the that matrix in the Atari Jaguar development documentation. It's, again, way over my head. I've never been good with matrices. I remember back in high school really struggling with those. Like, I understand why they're used. It's just wrapping my head around the bigger picture when you're actually doing something. It's a bit difficult. Okay, 22 and 28 on a, yeah, it's weird. 22 like that. And then B is 0A and 22. A is, or B. Make sure I'm hitting the right one. 0A and 22. 0A. And then C is AA and 0A. AA and 0A. Okay. So that should be enough checks on those. And here's the thing, it's assuming that only controllers are plugged into both sockets, and that's kind of what we want to assume most of the time. Most people won't be using team taps, but as soon as this is broken on any level, let's see here. Yeah. If this is broken for any of these buttons on any level, then it will say, oh, there is definitely a team tab plugged in. And you know what I should do? I should set this up that as soon as one of those is broken, it's not checking anymore, at least for that socket. And that way there won't be any bugs later on. I'm just worried that if it keeps checking this, that eventually there's always that off chance that somebody will hit the right button combos to reactivate this for any one of these. And I don't want that to happen. And so we do want to just set this once if possible. Which means that we do need two global variables for the team tap, and that's probably the way to do this anyways. So what we're going to do is we're not going to return socket state. We don't need that anymore. What we're going to do is just bring in two variables called team tap 1, 1, and these are just going to be integers, and we're going to change them. We're going to make them pointers so we can change them outside of the function. and then team tap 2, like that. And what we're going to do is set these variables inside of our function to those, and then set them back at the end. So team tap 1 equals socket 1, and team tap 2 equals socket 2. Okay, got those. And then we need to swap out our, where are you? Our team tap flag to just team tap 1, 0, no team tap, and 1, yes, team tap, like that. Okay, and we will duplicate that and make a second one. And then we need to change our declaration for our function, our prototype, in our header file to match right here. And then we need to update our code here. It simplifies this a little bit because now we can just say if team tap 1 is active and team tap 2 is equal to 1, is active as well. So that works there. And this isn't returning anything, so we don't need that anymore. And we need to send in team tap 1, the address, so it gets changed, and the address of team tap 2, like that. Okay, it assumes yes, this is right, and this is right. It's assuming that there is no team tap until it's flipped. And we need to do a check here. Else socket 0. We need to do one more check. We only run this check for each of these. So we're going to wrap this in another if statement. Let's do that here. If socket 1 does not equal 1. So we're only going to check this once now. That was the goal of changing all this logic. Like that. And we'll do the same thing for socket 2. Oh, whoops. This needs to be right. I'm confusing myself. Socket 1. Yeah, that's right. This needs to be bumped. There we go. Where do you go? Oh, I already had it. Good. Yeah, everything's good, right? This can be a little bit confusing right here, the way I have this laid out. Okay, I think we're good. We're just going to add this in for socket 2. Bump this all up like that. And we can actually get rid of all this code now. I'm pretty sure we don't need this because we're not setting the socket state anymore. Okay. That should be all we need to do. Let's give it a try. Oh, I should make... Okay, yeah, we're good. Okay. This might be all we're doing today. We may not get to the screensaver stuff. Okay, so that logic is still working. It's assuming 0. And there's our second controller. Yeah, that is kind of expected. So let's do this. Let's plug in the test our team taps one at a time like we were doing before. So I'm going to plug in team tap 1, have 2 controllers on that, and leave controller 2 in socket 2. We need to build our program again, send it to the skunk. Maybe I should flash it so we don't have to do this every time. It doesn't take that long. It's fine. So we should see, yeah, that's fine. And we should see the second controller. Where is the second controller? Not you. Should be this one. Sure, that's 70 pad. We should be seeing something on 5. Let's see if it's registering. Well, that's weird. Shouldn't be registering there. Should be on 5. Huh. That's working fine. Wait a second, look at that. There's a 4 there. Is that there to begin with? I'm gonna reset. This may have just gotten really simple. It may be changing a bit for the team tap. Oh, actually what I need to do is set, where are you? Controller hex code. I need to just set this to 0. Okay, let's reset it one more time. I just changed the code so it shows the hexadecimal code immediately. Look at that, that's set to 4. I wonder if the other one sets to 4, if the team tap. Well, let's first test out team tap 1. I'm gonna just plug in the controller again instead of the team tap. All of our hex values should be 0 on the first row of controllers. Yep, everything's 0. And I'm going to plug in the team tap for socket 2 now. We may have done just a ton of work for nothing. We'll see. Look at that. A 4 is set to the last controller. There. To J8. So J3 and J8, I think, carry a flag. So we may be able to just use that. Ha! Yeah, we did a lot of work for nothing, I believe. Let's plug in both team taps and see if they both show up that way. Now I'm expecting to see a 4 at J3 and at J8. Oh, I didn't plug in my burst controller. There we go. Try it again. Look at that. There's a 4 at both of those positions. So we can use that to detect a team tap right up front. Wow, that made things super easy. Barely an inconvenience. So all we're doing is at... Come on. Is J state J3 equals 0x0 ff04 1 2 3 4. Then we have a team tap in there. Yep. Else it just assumes there isn't anything plugged in. Socket 1. Yeah, that's right. And we only need to set that once. Socket 1. Then it's checking for all 4 of those. Yeah. Sorry, can't see the code. So yeah, I wiped out all of that. Here, let me just do it to this one here so you can see. So all we need to check for socket 2 is for controller 8. So J8, right? Yeah, I think it's J8. J8. Actually, this is wrong. Wait, is it? Yeah, we're checking for that, I'm pretty sure. Equals. Because that's what it equals at that state. Yeah, so that's fine. That's all we're checking. And then at J8, we're checking for the same thing. 0, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that. That should work. It should allow us to check for all 8 controllers. Let's find out. This is D-pad or team tap 1. So there's controller 1. Why isn't that working? Why is it showing up on... Something's not being remapped correctly. Not sure what it is though. So 1, 5, 2, 3. 5. That's right. So that's working. Oh, and that one's working. Yeah, so this is definitely working now. At least on the second team tap. I don't understand why. Let's see here. That's J1, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, this isn't right. Man, I thought I had this figured out yesterday, but I don't think I got it figured out. Here, I'm gonna swap the port really quick to see if the other ports are working. Okay. Let's go over to here. Okay. We got one little bug we need to get rid of. I think we'll be there. Okay, controller 1's working. This should be the second one. That is not working. I screwed up on my logic somewhere. So J3, right? 1. So that'd be 2 in that slot. Yeah, and that's right. That's correct. Is this correct up here? Team tap equals 1. Team tap 1. Socket 1. Those are all being passed correctly. Socket 1 does not equal 1. That's fine. I could actually simplify this code a little bit, but I'm just going to leave it the way it is for now. J3. Yeah, that's correct, right? 1, 2, 3 is being remapped to position 2. Oh, I can't remember how I was doing this mapping thing. Even though I did it yesterday, I've already forgotten. This isn't actually setting, so here let's go ahead and bring it up so you guys can see what's going on. Bring up my debug console. So our socket 1 is not setting. That's the issue. So if I go right here, I'm going to put it right here. We're going to print an integer, and it is socket 1 to the debug console. Just to show you what's going on. So this should be set to 0 because, yeah, so it's not even printing it because it's not getting to that part. It's not getting to this part of the function. And it's because we're not actually, well, no, we should be checking. I got to figure out which controller that is. It's definitely not 2. It should be 3. Yeah, it should definitely be 3. Is it right? FF04. Yep, that is correct. Equals, just making sure there isn't a syntax error here somewhere. I don't think there is. I think we're good. Yeah, definitely good there. I think this is the problem. So what I'm doing is when it's checking the highlighting of everything, I have it remap everything so it's highlighting in the correct position on screen. And I think I just have this screwed up somehow. So the array ID represents the controller. So 0, so J1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then these represent a position on screen. And so for controller 1, I want it to go to position 1. For controller 2, ID 2, I want it to go to position 5, which if you count the controllers from left to right, top to bottom, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it goes down to the next row, 5. And so the next controller for J3, it should be in the second position, which is why I'm confused that when we check that, oh, does this even, this may not even matter. This doesn't matter. Huh. Here, I'm gonna, I want to print J3. Oh, that's something I should check. Make sure I'm printing this. I think I'm printing it to the wrong place. 1, 5. This should be 2, 3, 4. There we go. I think I got it. Yeah, I got rid of that print command. Let's hide the debug console. I don't think I'm going to need it. I think I got it figured out. I just wasn't looking at the right controller. So now we should be able to see which controller we need to look at. Gosh, there's a lot of lag on my on my capture. I just realized that. Okay, so and that makes more sense to me that it's going to be the last one on Team Tap, on the Team Tap that's checking, because that's what it's doing on Team Tap 2. So we need to be checking number J4. We need to be, makes sense. J4, the last controller that can be on the Team Tap. So J4. Now it should be working. So I just switched J4 and our Team Tap check function, or the controller we're checking on Team Tap 1 in socket 1 is the 4th controller. So we're just checking for that FF04 again. So let's go take a look at that. So controller 1's working, and that one is still not working. What is going on? It should definitely be working now. J1, socket 1 does not equal 1. Socket 2, socket 1. Team Tap. Sending it back to Team Tap 1. If Team Tap 1 is equal to 1, that's correct. 3, 4, 5. Let's do this. F print F debug console %d. I want J state. I want oh, I got a few things messed up here. These should, no, that's right. 1. Yeah, that's right. 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we're fine. Those are fine. Yeah, that's correct, right? Yes, that is definitely correct. We don't need to print that out. It is definitely coming from J5 now, which is correct. And then that one's coming from J8, which is correct as well. Here, I'm going to set that to 0 just so we can make sure that the Team Tap thing is working correctly. There we go. Controller 1. Oh yeah, that is correct. It is highlighting the right controller. Okay, it just isn't setting to 1 for whatever reason. So let's set this back to 1. And then I'm gonna leave that there. That's fine. We are gonna use our debug console. And we're going to print out the state of Team Tap 1 constantly. Just to make sure it isn't being set, I'm going to check that first. Socket or Team Tap 1. Team Tap 1. Like that. It should be 0. Well, it shouldn't be 0, but I'm expecting 0 because I think that's where the problem lies. Yep, it's just 0. Oh, sorry, let me show you that. It's just printing zeros for team tap, the variable team tap 1. So it isn't setting because it's when it goes in here to team tap check, it's not actually changing it. Ah, there we go. 5. Should work now. I just spotted the problem. Look at that, 1. And controller 2 should be working. Yay! Okay, I think we got it. We got to do one more check, and then I'm going to call it a stream. We're going to unplug both team taps. Actually, no, we're going to do one team tap at a time. And then, oh, sorry. Nobody can see that. It says 1 now, which is what we were looking for. I'm going to pull that out of the code again. Just that debug console, we don't need it anymore. I'm pretty sure we got it. Like that. And now we're going to test each possible state. So no team taps, team tap only in socket 1, team tap only in socket 2, and then 2 team taps. We just tested 2 team taps, so we know that works. So we're going to do just a team tap in socket 2. Isn't hardware testing wonderful and exciting and amazing and fun? I'm glad I got this figured out, though. I've actually been wanting to do a controller tester of my own for a while because I feel like Matthias's has some issues. Seems like I've run into situations where I'm like, that's not working like it should. Okay, so yeah, 1 is working as expected. It didn't detect a team tap, and so it's obviously showing values in the other ones, but they aren't highlighting, which is what I'm expecting to see. Now in 2, there's our 4th controller in team tap 2, and our 1st controller in team tap 2. And then it's a pro controller, so I'm testing out those 3 buttons. And then our shoulder buttons. Yeah, that is what I'm expecting. I think we got this in the bag. Okay, now we're going to do a team tap in socket 1 and no team tap in socket 2. And I'm going to switch our 2nd controller in team tap 1 to, come on. I'm not bending the pins. Darn it. I'm going to move one of the controllers over to the 3rd position, since we haven't tried that yet. So we should expect only specific values to change for the top row because that's where the team tap is. Good, and 3rd position as expected. Yay! Awesome. And then controller 2, all of the values should change on the bottom row because we only have 1 controller plugged in, no team tap. Look at that. That's what we were expecting. Cool. Wow, that code turned out to be way simpler than I thought it would be. In fact, we're going to do a little bit of cleanup before we finished. But before we do that, let's just do controllers, just controllers in both sockets. And this time, we are expecting all the hex values to change for all controllers. Yeah. So we'll do that. I'm going to just do a little bit of code cleanup, and then we're going to call it a stream. So top value, or the top values should all change because we only have a controller plugged in, but only highlight the one controller. That's what we were fixing. That was our original goal. And the same thing for the bottom row. It looks great. Awesome. We got it. We got it. Let's see here. Yeah, we're gonna just do some code cleanup now. That's all I wanted to do is we can just add this to here. Getting rid of one level on our if statements. Oh, actually, I want to keep that because I don't want it to be checking to switch to socket 0. Yeah, never mind. No code cleanup. That's exactly what we want. I might consolidate this a little bit. And you know, the other cool thing about doing this is I do have a game idea I want to do that's going to require just one team tap. And so getting familiar with this is actually really useful for that game when and if that ever happens. So this wasn't a complete waste of time. And hopefully this will be useful for whoever uses this in the future. So what I'm going to do from this point with this program is I was going to go to that 240p suite website, recreate some of the test images that they have there, include some of those. I'm not going to do all of them. I'm just going to do a handful of them, and then I'm going to post on that Atari Age forum thread if somebody doesn't beat me to the punch. Well, if somebody beats me to the punch, I may do it anyways. And now there will be a little test suite for everybody to have. And I'm going to do some fun things too. So like the screensaver section, I want to do a few actual screensavers. So if you want to just plug this into your Jag and have it play on your CRT and have it just look cool, you can do that. For people who don't own a CD unit and don't have access to the VLM. Anyways, I think we're good there. In case you weren't here yesterday, let me show you some of the stuff that's in the other stuff in here. So we have our position calibration, so we can adjust the position. I'm actually looking at the stream, so I can center it nice on the stream. Yeah, it looks good. So we have that, and then we have color bars, just your standard color bars, like that. Then we have a white screen where it just gives us 100% white. I'm going to double check that. Yeah, that looks 100% to me. And then we have our sound balance test. And let me turn up the audio on that so you can hear it. So all this is used for is balancing the audio left and right to test your stereo setup, basically, and the hardware to make sure it's doing proper stereo. So you can pan it just by using the D-pad, left and right. And then I have shortcuts. You can see down in the instructions there for left, center, right. So if you have headphones, you can probably hear this pretty clearly. If you don't have headphones, it may be a little bit harder to hear. But anyways, there's that. And then we have our controller test, which we fixed or got finished today. So anyways, yeah, that worked out great. I like seeing the little number pad boxes flash. It's a lot funner in the emulator because you can hit more keys at once, but you can kind of do it here too. Anyways, that's fun. Yeah, I don't know if anybody was on stream. Nobody chatted with me today. A few people popped in, but it looked like nobody stuck around. If you're still there, let me know. I don't think there is anybody there right now. So if you're watching this after the fact, thanks for watching. You can follow me. Well, you can go to the links in the description. You can also go over here to JagCorner.com, where we have social links down here to everywhere. You can also email me directly if you want to do that with suggestions or insults or whatever you want to do there. You can also learn a little bit more about the stuff I'm programming here. Right now I'm working on Crescent Memories. which is a compilation cart, which will include a re-release of Flappy McFur, and it will include 2 new games, Oddball and Audit Will Be Watching. And so our next programming session, I may move back over to Audit Will Be Watching. Haven't had a whole lot of time to program lately, and so we'll probably do that. I may double up on Battle Morph next week as well, but I will be streaming next Tuesday and Wednesday. I don't think anything big's coming up. Let's see here. That's the 25th and the 26th. I don't think there's anything on those days. So yeah, I should be streaming next week. I'll tweet if that changes. But anyways, yeah, you can learn more about what JagCorner does over at JagCorner.com. Follow us at socials, obviously. Like this video, share it if you can, if it makes sense. There's really only a few places where it probably makes sense to share this on Facebook. But anyways, yeah, thanks for watching, and we will see you next week.